Ma, ma. I'm good. Think. Check. Right. Right, I guess so. What I've been trying to do for design anything. So the issue that I'm dealing with today. While I feel like most pill bottles meant children and animals. Brute force tactic. Brute force tactic. But in order to open these up, you have to brute force it in a technical way. It's not like you're using any sort of I mean there's others. All right. From perspective. Got like no, that's on the lower section. Section. So there's like these trying to put your shoes on. So, in kind of the whole thing about this is that child-safe containers really just need you to protect from like weird hands trying to open it, like unknowing hands. But it also inadvertently protects it against God, that is loud. It inadvertently protects it from elderly people who don't, while they have the ability, sometimes, the ability to finite motor control, they don't have the strength. And so basically to get, for an elderly person with arthritis, to get their arthritis medication, they have to not have arthritis. It just doesn't make sense. It's like, really, there's lots of designing that goes into this. Like, it really is cool how, like, it's not like a function of, I don't know how to get this on camera. It's not a function of, it's not a function of, like, a mechanism that's, well, yeah, I guess this is the mechanism, these little arrows, but it's not like a hinging mechanism that is keeping this together, or like, or causing the need to have pressure on it. There's like a little bit of give, because you're gonna need to be able to seat the little like prong into here. There's no little mechanism. It's just simply a curved surface that makes it almost require flexibility. Yes. Hello. That's cool, but it doesn't work for everything. And oftentimes there's like this idea that, oh, since something has existed before and no one's really complained, only like 10% of our customers have complained, and 10% of people, it's probably elderly people, they tend to complain a lot. Not saying that, I guess there's a definition, but just accepting the way that things have been is like the whole thing that I don't like about design things. I don't like new designs that are shitty, and I don't like old designs that are shitty. Oh, I wonder why I'm a designer. So I guess the first idea that I had to kind of like get out of this needing to like brute force it down, because of that, the way the prongs are shaped, anyone can probably, if they tried, really squeeze it together and get it so that it would be able to rotate. Being able to do that at the same time is difficult. Shut up. So maybe there's like I was thinking of an idea where the idea of preventing a kid from opening this is that kids don't have, like, young kids don't have finite motor control, so they're going to grab things with their hands, and their hands are probably a lot smaller, so you'll only be able to reach this. But they're going to grab it with this. To have a sort of mechanical mechanism that when any pressure is applied to this area, it auto-locks. It auto-locks the container. Whatever the function is to open it, it will make for damn sure as soon as, if you have a grip on the exterior of this, it will not open, which I think is a good idea, because it takes the whole, like, well, you don't want it to brute force it open, but in order to open these things you need brute force, like finite brute force. So it kind of takes the idea of I guess my ideas of bottles like this is to be able to flip it on its end, and while it's trying to protect from brute force, but you kind of still need it to open it, is to protect from brute force while having the most limited amount of force on it, just like a little fairy tech force to get it open. So I guess what I've been kind of looking at, did I get it? in a bigger size. Oh, it's angled now. Is to disregard that line. No one likes it. Is to kind of, yes, here's the top. To almost have like a full gap in here, probably. Like right. Have it with this like this flange that almost kind of wraps around the entirety of the bottle, like a dual, maybe like 4 buttons. So like two here, and then a separation, and then 2 here, like 2 separates, so that really make sure that these things are being pressed. And it would be something, it would be like a, I guess, a curved button, so be something like this on shells. There'd be another shell, but it would do the function of locking it. So it would be maybe something like interior after it's maybe like pins it up if this kind of just shoot up. But there'd be like these little tiny pins that kind of come up and eject, or not like eject, but be able to come spring loaded buttons almost. It would give a little bit of tactile feel and like a false sense of opening. Like usually when you open a door, there's like, or open a lock on a, when you open a lock, don't ask why I got this, but usually when you open a lock, or at least when you put a key in, there's the, you know, there's a tactile sense, and then there's like a audio sense that you're getting it, and then when you open the lock, there's another sense that you're doing something progressive. So by having this make noise unintentionally would be fine. Having there be a little bit of gaps would be okay, because then it would give you that kind of false sense of you're doing something that maybe like kids' toys are so noisy. And I think it's to kind of enforce that, like, oh, you're doing something. So that's like that's the keep out system. Now the way that you would open it, imagine almost like inspiration from this pill bottle shape. Didn't have to do that. It could have just been, you know, like a flat version, sloped version. But it'd be kind of nice to say would be about because it would space for top lip area to come. So it would probably be, this is like that. and that would be the top. So the idea is to have like a dial. I'm a bit good. Not, you have an old person. Good. Good of the world. So if you have this kind of like false gate here, you wouldn't be able to use it or grip the bottle in it. Ideally, you'd have on a counter. Usually, when you have a pill bottle, some sort of, or you could have, just have it sitting. So to not have any sort of function on the top, like a similar function to this, it would just be the top. So you could use this for stability, and even so, it'd be a good idea to create a little bit of a. It would be a little. Dial. That is not. All right. Give you the idea. Putting your like making it almost finger shape. Hey, put your finger here for stability. Then you would rotate this. It also, while the pins on the inside are spring loaded, the dial would be. So it would be something. It would be again a security system. If the kid has learned, figured out that saw grandma this, therefore, if I want to get the candy on the inside, if you want to get that, you're gonna have to do motion. Second thing, spring load. I think spring loading is the way to do it. Basically, you can't rotate. You have to, because there's different bottles where it's like you that clicking, you can rotate it, but it won't catch. Put roll pressure on it and twist. It always feels like I'm stripping a screw. Um, those pill bottles always. So make something that I don't. Nice and happy, right? So it would be something where you have to, for stability, put your finger on it, then you'd rotate it slowly. Then it would open. You know what I could do? Make it simpler. Is to have these pins automatic and just by clamping down, it wouldn't activate the pins. It would dial. That's better. It would be a locking mechanism. Kind of like is that you probably just have, because the issue with having a sensitive dial in the exterior is one of the has to be solid enough to hit a certain pressure or certain. Just here. How would you protect the dial product from direct hits? And while no one can really hit it from the top, it would work, but it would be harder to act. The point is to be able people have access. I mean, what you could do is live alone. You could do bottles. You can only get it open once, or you get someone else to open. Yeah. So with this, I guess I would like it to be but be it should be straight up. Another one. This is that's straight up and down. Looking at if anything, there's like a little bit of straight up and down. Be easy to grip this because you only have make it boom. Is this how do you texture it the same way? Yeah. You make the locking area. This is the locking. Um, the um, this is the locking area. It's a little thicker, and then that locking area doesn't. You have this entire surface to make tile. So put it apart. Ooh, so I might cut one of the lids off, then I might cut shits. I think I if so the locking fire one instead mean that this area on the app free space for the locking. So or no, the locking pin's on this side. So there's no need to put it. It would just be that I need that for the twisting. No, and for locking pins are dated. The mechanism is difficult. I just have to design the exterior and make it look kind of cool and make sure it functions right. That would learned industrial design. Have I always said form over function. No wonder engineers hate us. At least have a difficult because if I were to make a pill bottle that form over function, you know, great for elderly because that's mostly what I'm looking. I would make something that was like, you know, something that you slide your hand to. So something like something like whoops. Something like it. And then through ergonomically best shape, because you don't want to be making someone arthritis or someone less strength grip something that's watch a bodybuilder try. If you don't have grip strength, you don't have grip strength. No way to fit. So aiding in grip strength, and then for the top, it would be so. I saw my saw my grandma grip it. It doesn't grip like it's like here. There might be pain associated with gripping, or there might be so it's all palm. It might have been the fact that she was also trying to push and do that, and she had more with her palm. But I'm just gonna go with the fact that she pat. So with that, we need to make more of like a spine with it. So the cap would be around verge, verge. Here. That would be like a but grip being back down because also bit but also to like kind of have a bit of a paper of it. Actually, supposed to other than bit of a like this and that, so that your palm can better really use it as a. And then of course the bottle side be a regular twist off, so you don't need to put pressure. You could, and this would be like an exaggerated form. You know, it's not going to be as something like that. It would just be like a little so that you could just kind of almost by friction, hands on the top and control it. That would be the ideal running for an elderly person, a bottle. But we don't get to do that. We have to make something idiot proof. You're an idiot and old. So this is the first step, making something that would be ideal. Manufacturers is having a whole plastic body. It's probably injection molded. First idea. And this is more of like a, we gotta involve safety. We prevent them. Work. I was thinking of, for a little more than half, to make higher up bottom. Make this, and it fits out the idea of being, yeah, only having. Ooh, I just linked two things together. I ideate less than other people because but taking the kind of, and while this does have tactile feel, not something that's super slippery, is that for the dial there's like you know, is like ridges all so skin would be nicer because understanding that I get skin might be a little less durable. That's what I don't know. I wonder if those kind of like razor tooth appearances on animals could bring to elderly skin, where so it would be an interesting idea to have some sort of like lip design, almost more of like a wave format, big up and then kind of be like a pet socket sketch it. This last summer lost like so much. Basically, it's fins, little fins that pop up. Big waves. Lock your finger. Get to one of those big by pinching on Could be something like indents as well, having like almost finger-sized indent, kind of like with the finger-sized indent that are finger-sized. So there'd be finger-sized indent, and then there'd be like getting distracted. There'd be like finger-sized indents, turning apart, and there's ball skate with the pin. Pins are always at ball skate up. So I need to basically fill this in with a mechanism. It would just be a solid. How would so if it's pin based, this is the, not necessarily the the issue isn't your design, branding, and intent. I'm not good at making things look good. I'm good at making, but that's the thing, is linking the ideas. I would love for this, cool spinny cap and this pin design and little skate. And then, the cool little like indentation in the bottle cap. That's like design kind of mixed with, I good at making look good, function. I'm not good at imagining ideas, but I'm like doing it. Difficult theme on what something, generally like something like music off. I'm getting so just generally need to look at the function to figure out how it's going to look, because function matters. Something doesn't function the way, maybe it was that they thought this angle was not going to be as drastic and it wasn't going to be as difficult to open and only need like a little bit of pressure like that. I guess you can. Well, look at that. Maybe that's how it was originally, meant to be. You open it up like that, but based off the angle, it wasn't done well enough. It just is significantly harder than it should be. Or maybe they were so focused on like how it would go against the abilities of a young child, so they're mostly focusing on that, so they didn't really design it to be opened well. There's obviously nothing lost in like how it looked. It's spill bottle. Meant to like, really meant to just give you and protect others from those things. And so would rather, when I'm designing something, to do something where it's effective in keeping certain people away from it and effective enough for others to use it like intended to. But at the same time, I also want it to. There's a general like description look. Certain bottles is a cool sense, so you want it to generally have the principle, not looking too fantastic, so that it doesn't look medical enough. Because if you make something that works good, looks awesome, but it doesn't look, people are not going to want this in their home. That doesn't look. So many things these days. It's like there's so many really good ideas, but it's just the fact that like it doesn't, you know, it doesn't look like it's in Teens Mag or something. No, so it's kind of scrapped. Why? So the designer, as a good designer, as a designer you can really do anything. As a good designer, the rule of thumb is that you want function, you want it to look good, and you want to make it look belongs to whatever you're going. It's difficult because the issue with this is that I need to keep people from, you know, breaking the shit open, but I also need functional for a light touch. Usually things that have light touch are delicate. So the main issue that I'm dealing with, I don't know how it would work. I know how I want it to work. But kind of like getting a girlfriend, things just don't do just because you want it to work. So again, so the walls affect. Oh, it affects the ability to turn. Always stay up. Pin's always active. How do these panels directly influence assist? This is the problem. I get stuck on. I want it to look a certain way. Right, I'll just draw it once. I'll draw it again. I have to work on. Used to like enjoying. Don't just exist and to be. To work. Yeah, there's people who you might think are amazing, right? Their perception of amazing might be yours, so they're also working. Anyways, the dial's on the outside. That's the looks like. So little indent on here, and then you have looks decent. Okay. So we've got the finger plates, then we've got the top one, the bottom one. This would go down, and the pins would always be active, and then I guess the once you get to a certain point, the pins go up. So I think it would have a similar. I have another one. It would have to have the same like pins. Wow, have a similar. Good idea. Is having this being a flat base. The model would slide along. Slide along this area. Unfasten. Had a good idea. I lost. Better idea. Nice. So when you turn the dial, it's basically it's like a pull and place that you turn it like halfway around, which would in turn turn this little thing order of the. So you have to put more distance into this than would equate to this 1 to 2. So when you turn it, I guess it would be a there's fuck. And so if you turn it too fast, you'll just um, if you turn it slowly but you're still contacting here, there we go. If you you're a kid and I'm not gonna do that. If you're a kid, oh, this one's open. Okay. If you're a kid and you recognize your grandma, that's how she opens the candy jar, not and you're contacting the sides, turn slow, even if you're able to turn. Contact the sides, the pin. That's how you do it. Pin is always active. Actually, to release that. So that's the working right now. Releasing the. Then I wouldn't have to have something that might get busted if you go like that. Just thought I was gonna. If these panels here get too damaged where they're instantly anymore, then you wouldn't be able to get anything. And it would. So I have to be absolutely so downfall. Oh, that's knee. Holy. I swear I meant. So if sides get damaged. There's something with. Oh yeah. Top dial not protect. I feel like part of the reason why I don't like music on when I'm talking. Already have there's like 10 ideas that are just like while I'm working on. and then there's also music in my head playing. So like focusing on trying to get difficult, but then having competing music play. So this looks decent, better than that. So got the dial. How do you protect the dial? I know I was working on this. Fuck, I get so distracted. So the pins here, like, more like this, and then there's a hook on the inside. Kind of like there's like a yeah. So when the sides are activated, the pin stays. Come back. How do you do the? That would have to be something like almost like a system. A ratcheting system where like I guess you wouldn't be able to open it, but you wouldn't be able to turn the dial. It would be so the dial is a system. Stay. That's an E again. Dial no spin. So then this figure would still work. Logical. That means I would work. This would work. Directly influence closest thing. So there's like a handle, but like electronics where they have like and when you like maybe the charging cables on there's like magnetic strip along, and then once you put it on here, this will start. If I didn't have these ends direct, would then make this entire thing significantly worse, because if you've ever to not have grip strength and you try to grip something larger than what your hand wrap around, you need more strength because one, it's heavy, but two, it's just harder to. Our grip is only good like after here. This is where we have strength. We don't have a lot of strength here. Trying to grip something that's watch rock climbers grip things like this. Here we have a, which is also another funny thing, on pressure situation. But for how terrible it looks, it's kind of sense. Thing did the worky thing. So the big things is that it would be a ratchet system on the inside. That so if you spin the ratchet system too fast, you're just not able to spin the dial and you have to restart. That's easier than having it directly affect the pins, or like the pins would shoot back up. exciting, but they would be exciting. My thoughts went to, man, wouldn't be awesome to live forever. But I think this is good. I just need to make it look pretty and better perspective. Oh. I'm gonna not do that. Prolong it. No, I should do it. I should make it look good. Okay. Center of the page. I'll tell. All right. This would. I guess I have to draw this like. I want to flame. I think just reproduction. Yeah. But I'm gonna ratchet instantly. The issue with hitting this on like a full end, which is that pry it backwards and pop it off. But if it's inside like this little flange up high, you could seat it down farther. You could seat this spinny thing into it. Not spinning on top, it's spinning. Solution. At the so that so the other one. That it looks somewhat other. Whatever you want your designs to look nice, just have shit around. So that's a solution. That's one solution. I mean, there's like There's a lot. There's 430. Right. Elderly pill bottle. Oh! I spelled bottle wrong. Oh wow, that's a oh. So there's this pink pill bottle. That's great. If there wasn't, you know, enough code on it. Tiny pass. Oh, you know, for people with, you know, abilities and strong, it's like, yeah, let's put tiny, unreadable numbers on it. That's a better. And then there's like ripping them because for people with disability. There's this is it. And then there's a oh yeah. Well, I think this rendering of bottle with pill container for elderly. How is this better? It doesn't have a locking mechanism. That. What is it doing? I know I don't. Wondering. Oh, it might be drawn. So there's two different pills here, but one bottle. Yes. I will be in just a few minutes. False gate so that like I think I told you about this. Is like a false gate so that like if you're holding it here and trying to open it, um, like what kids do is they get their clammy hands on there and then they close it. To be an extra precaution, almost like it would have like a tactile sensation. So like you know it sounds like you're opening it, but you're not. So just kind of keep them occupied. But the issue is in opening it. So I'd want it like a ratcheted style dial, so that you'd have to open it slowly. So a kid again can't just like twist it really hard and get it to open. Um, but then figuring out how that would actually fit in with like it's complex. I think what I figured out is that so there's these pins. Oh, there's these pins that are like on like a thicker lip here. No, like little like four little pins that are just like poking up out of there. Um, and there's like this little like bar. So there's this L-shaped bar that's on there, so it kind of juts up from the top and then pin locks. The top of the bottle is in that space and is unable to open. Um, that oh, um, then so if you press on the sides, it just kind of funky. Then with the dial, when you rotate it, if you rotate it slowly, what happens is that this pin will slowly start to. Well, once you get to the end point, it'll release, and then you'll be able to rotate it completely through. So it's like it wants you to the bottle wants you to use very light pressure, and there would also be like a little indent here, so that would like tell you, make it seem like you want to like put your finger on there to like hold it steady. Just twist it. But all the main issues is that like you need to pass like a system of tests that is like really essentially just put candy in a bottle, give it to a bunch of babies, and see if they can break it or open it, which is really funny.
Is it really such a test?
Yeah, yeah. You just get like 50 kids to do that, and then if you pass, you pass. But then they also like have like they also give it to like a certain. It's like it's worded weirdly, so like you have to give it to some certain age, like from 30 to 50-year olds, and if they can open it with a certain percentage of success, then they give it to 80-year-olds, and then they try to open it. Yes and no. I am, but because I've recorded it and dated it because it's been recorded to a certain area, I own copyright on this idea.
No.
Yes.
No. You have copyright.
Copyright is this. Yes. It's a smaller version of copyright, but if you have the ability to date your idea and have proof that at this point in time you came up with this idea, and if the other person who made the product is able to predate your idea, then yeah, they own the ability to do stuff with it.
Maybe even probably. The problem is if they could take your and improve on it just a little bit.
Yes.
And then it's
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care. Like, if someone's able to make something like this that makes elderly lives better and able to opening up bottles, and that's I'm not invested. It's just some cool
exercise.
idea for like trying to get better at sketching or
Okay, so
trying to
you've
think
got
differently.
other
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. I'll